And one of the ways we do that is through pictures. It's the seat of imagination, your subconscious mind. The cool thing to know about that is that it really doesn't get language. It doesn't understand Spanish or English. If you talk fast or slow, it doesn't get it. If you talk louder or if you talk a little bit lower, it doesn't really care.
Like somebody who doesn't understand your language, so you
just talk louder.
Yeah, that doesn't work with the subconscious mind either.
It's just getting your pictures, which is why a lot of times we're talking about what we don't want. So often we're talking about what we're wanting to move away from instead of what we're wanting to move towards. So if you think about that, we're actually putting pictures in our mind of what we don't want. When we're talking about or thinking about what we want to move away from, whether it's lack or it's no money or I don't want to be sick anymore, or I don't want to feel like this, what would be the picture in your mind? It's kind of like if I told you right now, don't think about a pink elephant. What's the first thing that pops into your mind?
Big pink elephant.
A big pink elephant, exactly. So your subconscious mind is working through pictures. It's always moving you towards that picture in your mind. So be really aware of what that picture is in your mind. And if you're thinking about what you're wanting to move towards, it's going to feel really good. That brings us to another really important part of your subconscious mind. It's the seat of emotions. It's the feeling part of your mind. Again, it's why you keep doing what you feel like doing and not what you think you should do. Brandy mentioned a little while ago about weight loss and about stopping smoking, and we decide, I'm going to go to bed tonight and I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to be a non-smoker. I'm done with that. And then we wake up in the morning, we've got a cup of coffee and we're ready to go for our day, and I know I shouldn't do this, but I feel like having that cigarette. In other words, you're always going to do what you feel like doing, not what you think you should do. And that's all part of the subconscious mind.
Absolutely, and I want to make a point here because people, sometimes when I explain this to them, Mitch, they'll have a little bit of an argument with me, and they'll say, can you believe that? They'll say, that's not true, because some days I don't feel like going to work, but I drag my butt out of bed and I go anyway. So, we need to go back to the subconscious mind is the seat of survival. Its prime directive is to keep us alive. So your subconscious mind will always drive you to do the strongest feeling. So if your strongest desire is to continue to have your job and continue to get paid, and you equate that to keeping your house and having food and shelter and all of those wonderful things, then your strongest desire is to go to work.
It's to survive, exactly.
Is to survive and go to work. Even though I don't feel like going to work, the stronger, deeper desire is to get up and go to work. Now, I know plenty of type B personalities, friends of mine, people who have been in and out of my life, who, you know what, they didn't equate having a job to survival, and so some days they'll just be like, nah, I'm not going to work. I'm going to blow it off. And they know. I like to make that clarification on the feeling, and we act out of our feelings, because the strongest feeling wins.
Strongest emotion always wins. That's right. So another part of the subconscious mind is it's your body. Your we always think head. We always think head, like the mind is in my head. And that's pretty much true. I could really relate to that when it comes to the conscious part of your mind, because it's about thinking and analyzing and all of that. But your subconscious mind, it's actually your body. It's the cells in your body. It's running your body. And it does that by perception. And by the virtue of your autonomic nervous system, if you're perceiving danger, what happens? We go right to that sympathetic nervous system, and it's not about thinking, it's not about reasoning in that moment. All the blood goes into your legs, and it's really about running. And we're pretty much designed to do that for about 30 seconds, maybe to 60 seconds. If we hold on to that, which we do, as humans in this day and age, we really hold on to that stress in so many different ways, and holding that fight or flight kind of feeling in our body. And there's no good outcome for that, folks. It's really about dis-ease in the body, and that can show up a lot of different ways. The other part is if you perceive safety. And what happens is your parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, and that's all about balance. That's about peace. That's about homeostasis in your body. All the organs in your body go into perfect functioning. It's a great feeling, and it's all about healing. And it's where we're supposed to return to from that fight or flight. So it's important. Brandy and I have great techniques for people to relax almost instantly that we're not going to get into on this show. You can certainly email us at info@itsyourmindthatmatter.com, and we're happy to answer any questions about how you could actually bring relaxation into your body. For now, we're going to just talk a little bit about how it affects your body. And it does so, like I said, by the virtue of the autonomic nervous system, by perception. It's just about your thoughts. If you're perceiving and thinking about danger, you're activating that fight or flight. Otherwise, think about peace and you go into that really great place. It's a really peaceful, and that's where your creative mind power really gets activated, and you really do have power over your experience, and that's where we do all our creating, and especially creating really good health. One of my specialties is working with people with illness and pain in their body, and it's amazing what you can do with your perception, how you perceive your experience in your body and how it can change your physiology.
And that starts with the conscious mind. This is where the conscious mind is a really great doer for you, because you can notice your experience. Oh my God, I'm feeling like a little anxious and nervous, and why? And it could be something like, oh, I almost ran out of gas, but everything's okay now. Or that bus almost hit me and everything's okay now. Or I thought my boss was going to yell at me, and they did or they didn't, but it's all over now. So consciously we can say, you know what, there is no danger. And then we have to send the signal to the subconscious mind and purposefully say, now we're going to focus on peace. And because, like Mitch said, the subconscious mind is the body. It runs everything in the body. We don't think about blinking or our heart beating or our blood pumping or the exchange of oxygen and through our lungs. We don't think about those things. Those things happen automatically. But we can consciously give directive to our bodies to say, I am safe. Nice deep breath. You can relax now. Because everything that happens within us begins with a thought. It all begins with a thought, and we're thinking around 60,000 thoughts a day. Let's go back to that conscious mind that can only be aware of anything for 5 to 7 bits of information per second. We're not aware of all of our thoughts.
Right.
So some of our thoughts happen subconsciously, and it could be like, oh my gosh, that's dangerous. Oh, gush. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's dangerous. And that can happen subconsciously. We could see a mouse, and then boom, we're in that state, and then something else happens. We get a telephone call from the kid's principal. We get this happens and that happens, and we just build it up and build it up. And then how do we relax from that? Think a different thought.
And that's a really good point, because your subconscious mind is actually designed to be your servant. So as soon as we are consciously aware of what we're acting out, it's really important. Now we've just taken that information, taken those feelings, and brought them to the conscious awareness. That's where we can heal it. But then we've got to heal it by sending a different message into our body, by changing our thought, changing our belief, changing that picture in our mind to something that moves us towards what we're wanting, moves us towards that peace. For me, it's about floating on magic carpets. Some people go to the beach and use the beach, or walking down trails. There's some great guided imagery, but it's all about the picture in your mind. Put a picture in your mind that's going to be moving you towards what you're wanting, and your subconscious mind will act that out.
And I have clients sometimes that get disgruntled with themselves for repeating the same pattern over and over again in their life. And they say, why am I just doing the same thing over and over again when I know this is not what I want? Well, guess what? The subconscious mind is really efficient. It's an association-making mechanism. We stereotype as a structure of our brain. We do that on purpose so that we can go, that looks like that, they must be the same. It's quick, it's easy, it's efficient. So the subconscious mind is also the seat of memory.
Let's say a significant event happens in your life, and I'm going to use myself as an example. Let's use an example of when I was a little kid. I was actually in a play when I was in first grade, and I was supposed to be, I was George Washington. I was the cutest George Washington.
I can see it.
Millie made me the whole outfit. I had the wig and the beard, and what my part was, I was supposed to fall asleep back in like the old days of being George Washington. Then when I woke up, I was in the 1950s, which is when I went to school. So I woke up in like the 1950s, and we were supposed to interact as George Washington in the present time. And while I was acting like I was falling asleep, I actually fell asleep on stage. And of course I opened up my eyes when it was my turn to speak, and everybody was poking me, and everybody was laughing, and the teacher was talking to me, and I made up it wasn't safe to be in front of people, and I don't remember my lines, so I must be stupid. And Brandy talked about how the conscious mind thinks inductively. Well, the subconscious mind can only think deductively. So if everybody's laughing at me, my parents, my friends, then it's not safe to be up in front of people. And if the teacher's telling me I should know my line, then I must be stupid.